But first, when is a conspiracy theory not a conspiracy theory? The answer should be obvious: when it is the truth. Often, as wiser minds than mine have pointed out, the only difference between a conspiracy and a news scoop is simply a matter of time. I know this from personal experience. During COVID, for instance, I did not believe the curfews imposed by the draconian Dan Andrews government had any genuine scientific or medical basis at all, despite the repeated assurances during lockdowns from the Premier like this.
There will be a curfew on advice from the Chief Health Officer from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. each and every day. That comes into effect from tonight.
I reached my dissenting opinion after talking to people like my friend Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, the epidemiologist who is now Donald Trump's head of the National Institute of Health and who throughout all the lockdowns was not only adamant they served no scientific purpose, but was demonised not only by the Biden government, but by the Australian Senate, along with me, for daring to say so. Many Australian doctors too, who I spoke to at the time, also agreed, but weren't allowed to speak up for fear of losing their jobs. And who can forget, my friend Gideon Rosner bravely making this video in the deserted streets of the Melbourne CBD at the height of Dan Andrews' curfews.
Australians were not meant to live like this, and we cannot allow this to go on any longer. Enough is enough. It is time to begin to end this lockdown now.
Well, now this week we learned, surprise, surprise, that the Andrews government embarked on its tyrannical, authoritarian night curfews without any proper scientific basis. In August 2020, metropolitan Melbourne was completely locked down with an enforced curfew, limiting movement at night and also forcing thousands of people to stay within 5 kilometres of their home. Now, after a 5-year battle, Freedom of Information documents obtained by the Liberal leader David Davis reveal an email exchange between Public Health Commander Dr. Finn Romanis and Victoria's former Chief Health Officer Brett Sutton that includes these damning words. From Dr. Romanis, quote, "The idea of a curfew has not arisen from public health advice in the first instance. The action of issuing a curfew is not occurring on public health advice, but is a decision taken by cabinets." To which Dan Andrews' health officer, Brett Sutton, rather blithely replied, quote, "There appears to be merit in limiting opportunities for transmission, perhaps especially in high-risk cohorts." End of quote. Oh, really? And just to remind you, because it is seared in my memory, this is the same Brett Sutton who was so snidely dismissive of all those Victorians who, for many, many reasons, eventually took to the streets in protest at the draconian COVID restrictions.
They are literally in a fantasy world. They are absolutely wacky. They are anti-everything. They are anti-lockdown. They are anti the shutdown on international travel. They are anti-mask. They are anti-social distancing. They think that everything will be solved by taking a horse deworming tablet, ivermectin, that gives you the runs and that puts some people in hospital.
Words fail me. The disgusting way everyday Australians were treated by our own governments during COVID on so many levels and in so many cruel and unacceptable fashions should never be forgotten. Families and communities were divided, friendships were destroyed for all time. So many good, decent and experienced people were turfed out of their jobs. Businesses were obliterated. Another good friend of mine, Monica Smith, went to prison because of these grubs. But alas, it does appear most people, especially those who so eagerly went along with it at all at the time, most people simply want to forget the whole ghastly thing. But I won't. I won't forget the grotesque abuses of the most fundamental human rights and freedoms, and I won't forget all those people who so eagerly went along with it all. And who can forget all these stupid and incoherent rulings based on what precisely?
There will only be 4 reasons to leave your home: shopping for what you need when you need it, caregiving and compassionate reasons, essential work or permitted education where that cannot be done from home, exercise for 2 hours per day.
My favourite was what I call the sunset clause, literally.
You know, there's a whole bunch of people down the Ryback Beach last night who thought the best thing to do was to go and watch the sunset. I'm sure it was a beautiful sunset, but that's not in the spirit or in the letter of these rules.
Unbelievable. And I won't forget how even at the time the obfuscation from the Premier and his hand-picked team was unrelenting.
Ray, are you able to confirm today that it was in fact police who asked you to impose the curfew?
No, I wouldn't confirm that at all. I think there was a discussion. There was a discussion between different parts of government. We've spoke with police, absolutely.
Were police consulted about the introduction of a curfew?
No.
Were you at no stage?
No.
I don't know exactly which person at what moment said that, but there's ongoing discussions, lots of different people talking, both us as a government, officers, so senior officials, members of Victoria Police. It's no more or less complicated than that.
God save us from petty bureaucratic tyrants. I believe it's only a matter of time before more emails come to light here and all around the world that expose many more decisions taken in secrecy and without any kind of genuine scientific basis, and the degree to which corruption and authoritarian left-wing ideology are revealed to have driven much of what we lived through. And I, for one, won't be at all surprised if we learn that a great deal of what so many had to endure during COVID was for reasons as phony as those original Victorian curfews. Later in the show, I'll have a very special guest, Tony Nikolic, who fought for the rights of those being persecuted during COVID. Tony is now at this election running for One Nation against Labor's insufferable Ed Husic in the seat of Chifley. Let us not forget that the greatest way we can honour the Anzacs who sacrificed their lives for our freedoms is to enjoy those freedoms and to safeguard those freedoms. So I say, before you cast your vote next week, ask yourself who you most trust to guarantee our freedoms.